I sat down in front of the mirror and I looked at myself and I started making funny faces at myself. Sticking my tongue out, pulling my cheeks, like, you know, just kind of looking at my face, kind of being like, watching my face change as I like controlled the movements of it, you know what I mean? And that's when I sat and went, I have no idea who that girl is. You know, when you go through a breakup, it doesn't really matter who you are. You can be like the most famous person in the world. You can be of any faith, any class, any age. Everyone's really going through the same thing. I felt like I had sacrificed so much of myself for that other person that I couldn't even like leave my house. I was so miserable. I was like staying in bed. I felt like I had such little self-worth. I watched Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet every day for weeks. And I realized that I was obsessing over the movie because I felt like I was living it. I had this debut record, Badlands, which was this like super DIY record that I made in a bedroom. And then Closer happened. And I had this massive pop song, literally the biggest song in the world when it happened. And for me, there's no story. It's kind of like when you're watching a movie and the director doesn't give you enough expository background on the characters before something big happens in the movie. And all of a sudden there's like a big dramatic plot point and you're like, well, I don't care about this because I don't know these people. So when I'm making a record, I want my fans to know my characters and to know the story. Baby, go love me now, never. When I was making Hopeless Fountain Kingdom, I wrote the story of Luna and Solace. So my fans would kind of feel the intensity and the pain that I was going through when I was going through my breakup. And I knew that I kind of wanted to do the gender swap. It was an easy decision to make. Solace, the more submissive, calm, quiet, feminine character, if you will, and then to make Luna the kind of more abrasive, hot-headed, angry kind of Leo. She's super, super impulsive, really melodramatic, really narcissistic, kind of like this caricature version of how my partner made me feel like I was when we were together. Everything I did was too loud or too big or too arrogant or too, you know, impulsive. She kind of signifies like how he saw me, and he kind of signifies how I saw him. I definitely felt kind of like I lost myself, and it's because I was giving myself to a lot of people. To the fans, to the company, to my boyfriend, to my family. There's a lot of responsibility on me to be there for a lot of people, and in the process I just became completely ostracized from myself. It was the nature of my lifestyle. I was never alone, never alone. Assistant, manager, security, someone with me all the time. All the time. You know, I remember when I first went through this breakup and I was living in my house by myself for the first time. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, kind of just like collecting myself and thinking like, well, what am I gonna do today? I'm single, whoa. And when I get out of the shower and there's no person sitting on the edge of my bed saying, I think you should wear the dress, what do I choose? You know? When I'm in the car and I want to put on rock music, but then I know they don't like it, so I settle for R&B because that's what we both like. What would my day have been like if I would have put on the rock music? What would I have thought of? What would I have created? What have I been inspired to do if I had just gone with my gut and done what I wanted to do, instead of letting me and everything that I like be controlled by someone else's gaze? And that was a big turning point for me. And that's kind of when I started finding myself and figuring myself out, and that's when I started writing again.
Breakfast is cold as your bed. I'm watching you choke down the words that you said. I watch you devour, mistake me for bread. Well, boy, is you fed or are you misled? I gave you the messiest head. You give me the messiest head. Oh, you're turning red. I'm trying to give the impression that I get the message. You wish I was dead.
It's kind of liberating being so honest because it keeps me honest with myself. I'm representative of a lot of things for a lot of my fans, like whether it's a sexuality thing or a race thing or my hobbies, my interests, a mental illness, anything. They deserve to know who that person is. You are no different than them, other than the fact that, you know, they lift you up. And, you know, if all those hands come down, you come crashing down with them. And it keeps me sane to meet someone and be like, wow, that's cool. Like Rachel got her braces off. I remember I met her when she was a freshman in high school and now she's graduating. Or like Kaylee got into the college that she wanted to go to. Chris finally came out to his parents and he's here with his boyfriend now. When he met me, and he said, how do I come out to my parents? And then 2 years later, he shows up with his mom and his boyfriend. And wow, that growth is so special. And I got to watch that happen in a person.
I'm bad in love. Ooh, but you can't blame me for trying. You know I'll be lying, saying
think the song that probably best represents me right now is definitely Bad at Love. I'm feeling very much like Hands in the Air. Well, I suck at this, but I'm just gonna keep trying to do it and hope something works. But also feeling very vibrant and confident and unapologetic.
She doesn't kiss me on the mouth anymore, 'cause it's more intimate than she thinks we should get.
Strangers is also one of my favorite songs on the album, and it's featuring Lauren Jareggi from Fifth Harmony. She's openly bisexual, and so am I. She's a woman of color, and so am I, and so it was really, really cool to get together. I had written this song about a relationship I'd been in that had turned mostly physical. If I'm Romeo, this is about my Rosaline, who I'm infatuated with before I find my Juliet. The song is really cool to me because it is two out female performers singing a non-heteronormative love song to each other. It's not preachy, it's not, you know, about making the record into a statement. It's just a song about two people who used to be in love and now are only sleeping with each other because they can't talk about anything anymore. Sia is one of the reasons I'm a songwriter. When I was a freshman in high school and I saw a video of Sia singing Diamonds, and I thought, oh, that's cool, she's covering Rihanna. And then I read the description and I went, oh my God, she wrote this song. And I was listening to the emotion in her voice as she's singing it, and it was like I got hit with a train. That was a huge awakening for me. When I chose the two writing collaborators, it was Sia and Abel The Weeknd, because the two of them, their sound has such a personality. When you listen to Eyes Closed, you can hear Abel, you can hear The Weeknd, even though his voice isn't on it anywhere. Because his melodies, his spirit has such a personality that shines through, even though it's my words and my production.
My lover, if I keep my eyes closed, he looks just like you, but he'll never say, they never do.
Badlands was really aggressive and exciting, but Hopeless Romantic needed to be sexy. And so I really wanted him to bring that language to it. So choosing to collaborate with them as writers, not as features, was a really interesting choice, and one I'm really glad I made. The record ends pretty optimistically with the phrase, I hope Hopeless changes over time. Because I always say that the Badlands was a state of mind. And so at the end of this record I say, I hope Hopeless is just a state of mind. The record kind of ends with that reminder to myself, you're not stuck anywhere you don't want to be. And the best thing that I ever did was not write songs about him. You know, it's a breakup album. You think a lot of songs are going to be about him, but the songs are about me. And that's the most important part of the record, I think.
But you've been replaced, I'm face to face with someone new. Thank you.